kids travel and do all sorts of other things on that 5th day. So just stating a group basic deal, we're going to have 180 days, does not solve the problem for some of those school districts. It's time on task and other issues with respect to that. So what we're saying is, you're going to have money. You can use that to extend contracts of teachers and have more days. Or you can figure out how to do that with respect to time on task and in classrooms. There are a lot of ways. You can extend it by saying, we need to have summer programs, because not all kids need to have that extra learning time, but some kids really need it over time. So summer learning, after school learning. There's a whole lot of ways in which, when we were out there talking to people, those superintendents, those teachers, and those kids told us about how time could be helpful for them. And so what we have said in this plan is that we're putting most of the money, 50% of it, in that fund, and let's let people in their local communities have that conversation about what's really important to them. And so that's why it's in that particular bucket and not in a bucket that says everybody's going to have to do 180 days.
Well, but how will that change as far as the fact that there are statewide requirements, and the public has definitely voiced concerns that Oregon has one of the shortest requirements in the country, so if that's staying the same, like how will that be?
So I don't know if you saw the report that came out recently about time in schools that ODE did. We have this, we may have the fewest number of days, we don't have the fewest number of hours that kids are in class. And the way that every state decides what days are and what time is very different. And so we've got very prescriptive things about what time counts. We don't count recess, we don't count lunchtime, we don't count all this stuff. Many school districts count all of that when they're talking about time on task. So it's looking and trying to figure out what that is. When it comes down to just the number of days, Washington has more days. But they count all of their in-service days, they count all these other kinds of things. There's a whole bunch of days which they count, which aren't counted when we talk about days. So again, every state has the right to set up their education system the way they want. We have a requirement for 24 credits. There are states that have as few as 20, others that have less than that. 16 is kind of the lowest. So every state does that differently. Graduation, what it takes to graduate is different in each state. And so what we're saying is individual communities need to come up with the idea about how that works for them, and we want to give them the resources they need to make those decisions for their kids. And I hope that they choose class size. I believe most of them will, especially at certain grade levels. I hope that they pick extending the year in a myriad of different ways.
Summer learning.
That's what I was saying, yeah.